This episode of Jonjo Lyons Reviews is sponsored by Jame.
What's that like to live deliciously? Chaos reigns.
Please don't scream.
Now, Sid, don't you blame the movies. Movies don't create psychos. Movies make psychos more creative.
What's going on? My name is Jonjo Lyons, and today I'm here to present to you my review for The Pool, or the swimming pool, according to my German DVD.
The Pool.
Written and directed by Boris von Sikowitz, The Pool stars Kristen Miller, Ilana Ulig, Paul T. Grassoff, John Hopkins, Isla Fisher, Jason Ligger, and James McAvoy, among many others. School's out, exams are over, and it's time for real life to begin. But before 12 friends from the international high school in Prague disappear to the four corners of the earth, they intend to throw the best party of their lives. The idea to stage the party in Prague's biggest swimming pool is illegal but cool. And when Greg, the laid-back leader of the group, thinks an idea is good, then no one else from the group objects. But what begins as the night of all nights quickly turns into a life and death struggle, as the friends come to realise that death itself is on the guest list. A mysterious masked killer sets a hunt in motion that ranges through the facility's halls and corridors. As the kids panic, it begins to dawn on them that the killer must be one of them. Lovely stuff. Now, as you know, I love slasher movies, but more specifically, I love 90s slasher movies. It might be Scream or just movies set in that time period in general. The Craft is my shit. But there's something about this little pocket of the horror genre that I just absolutely love. Stick some in a mask, get him chasing around teens, sprinkle in the mystery of who the killer is and what their motive might be, and I am super duper down to clown. Now, due to the cruel mistress that is time, there is only a finite amount of films that fit under this blood-soaked umbrella, and today we're going to look at what I think is the last ever true 90s slasher film, released in 2001. Anyway, let's crack on. The movie begins on a dark and stormy night as we overhear Catherine on the phone to her mother. She explains that she's waiting for her boyfriend Oliver when the line goes dead. We see a car slowly pull into the driveway before cutting inside as Catherine hears the doorbell. She answers, finding no one there before spotting Oliver's car and scolding him.
Look, listen, stop it. Stop it or the party's over. I'm pretty serious, come on.
She then gets scared and approaches the car, finding the blood-soaked corpse of Oliver in the driver's seat. Catherine runs back inside, locking the door and trying to call for help with no success. She runs upstairs to try and use another phone, which breaks as the lights start to go out around the house. She then breaks the lock off the gun cabinet and pulls out a shotgun before loading it up and going hunting. She tries to leave out the front door, but it's locked and the keys are missing. She heads to the patio doors where she's shocked to see a figure in a skull mask with a machete. She shoots through the door but misses, and the killer jumps through the glass. Catherine tries to run but is caught by the killer, thrown through more glass, and then dragged back inside before being stabbed and thrown into the pool. That's when we hear the answering machine pick up a message from Sarah talking about their last day of school and the party tomorrow. The killer fingers the machine and we cut to the school where we have a little montage introducing us to all the main cast and their stereotypical characteristics. Timid, cocky, dumb, flirtatious, final girl, etc. Cut to outside as all the students celebrate finishing the school year. And here we meet most of the main cast. The Scottish Mike, the English Frank, Kim, an Australian, Carmen from Germany, Diego from Argentina, and a bunch of others. Greg advises he's planning a secret party for them all to attend that evening and that he'll meet them there at midnight. Cut to a garage where Greg and Diego meet up with Martin, a former student who they employ to break them into the water park. After mentioning a girl called Mel, he agrees and we cut to Sarah looking for Carmen. She's seen floating face down in the pool and Sarah fully overreacts, like 100%, and we get this wonderful little dramatic moment.
Carmen, take my hand! Somebody help me! 2:30. Hi, Sarah.
Carmen was only seeing how long she could hold her breath for, and the two then talk about how Sarah can't swim, but won't say why. Cut to someone getting into Greg's truck, and then to Greg and Sarah in bed talking about who of their friends they'd like to bang. Then we cut to Mike and Kim at a lake. Mike tries to convince Kim to attend the party, but she has a full-on whinge up about Mike having rich friends and her having failed her exams. She then breaks up with Mike and storms off. Cut to the water park as the security guard ambles around the locker room, where on top of the lockers we see Martin hiding. Check out Solid Snake over here, eh? The guard leaves and Martin successfully breaks into the security room. Cut to Kim walking home. She sees the truck lights and, thinking it's Mike, approaches. Finding no one, she calls out for Mike when the killer appears. Kim runs but is eventually caught and stabbed to death by the killer. He watches her die as we cut to all the main cast waiting outside the school for Greg. He arrives and they all talk before setting off to the water park. Cut to the police investigating another random person's death, mentioning that this woman had a stepbrother who was supposed to be taking medication for schizophrenia but stopped. The cop is shown a picture of the brother, but we don't see it. He then advises his partner to find out where the kids are holding their after party. Cut to the water park where the kids are met with Martin, who lets them in and they start the party. Cut to a montage of everyone drinking and jumping in the water. Everyone apart from Sarah, of course. Mike then has a whinge up about Kim while being reassured by Sarah and Greg. Greg and Carmen then have a game of hold your breath where she steals a kiss. Chris tries to throw Sarah in the pool but she hits him and they further confirm that Sarah can't swim. Then why the f come to this party? Or Greg being the boyfriend, why the f did you set it here?
I know, I've been an idiot. I just didn't think that your father's death is still an issue.
Oh, because you're a okay. They make up and then we cut back to the cop giving us some more backstory on the crazy brother. The guy on the radio says the brother's name is Tommy, and then we cut back to the pool in a separate room where we meet Carter and Savenya, who I swear I've never seen up until this moment. I imagine they're standing in the group shots, but if I ever noticed them. They had no lines and they might as well just be brand new characters as far as I'm concerned. Savenya goes to ride the slide while Carter stays at the bottom. Suddenly the killer emerges from the water and viciously stabs Carter to death before shoving his machete through the slide and catching Savenya on her way down. Oh, good lord. Cut back to the kids drinking and then Mike with Sarah as he draws her. Mike tries to tell her that she can do better than Greg before Greg approaches. Cut to Martin and Mel. Evidently they have a past and discuss it briefly before kissing. Cut to Frank as he drinks, burps, talks to himself and then runs off to vomit. Cut to Martin and Mel kissing in the weight room, then to Chris and Carmen as they discover the bodies of Carter and Savenya. Cut to Martin and Mel as they're about to bump uglies. Martin runs off to grab a rubber, leaving Mel alone. Cut back to the rest discussing what to do and fighting amongst themselves. Greg elects to find the missing of their group and instructs the others to leave out the back door they came in through. Cut back to Mel as the killer drops weights on her, pinning her to the bench. The killer swings the machete towards her neck but narrowly misses as Mel tries to make her escape. Cut to Sarah, Carmen, Mike and Chris as they find the back door locked. Cut to Martin finding his condom when he's grabbed by Chris, who accuses him of locking the doors. They explain what's going on, then rush off to find Mel, who we see hiding in the locker room. She creeps around a bit before the killer cuts off her feet and stabs her through the partition. Cut to the others finding her body. They try all the phones and argue some more, with Mike accusing Greg of being the killer. Mike says he needs some fresh air, sparking this idea in Martin.
What? Martin, what? Fresh air.
Martin says that there are two ways out. One is through the water circulation unit, but no one can hold their breath that long. Carmen says she can, which was set up in the beginning of the movie, but he just ignores her. And the other is the air vent. He gets Chris to help him into the vent, which, by the way, is right next to his head. Like, they go on as if he's lifted him 10 feet in the air. But if we look at this shot, could easily run and jump into that. Anyway, Martin starts to make his way through. Cut to Frank coming out of the toilet, having finished throwing up. He chats to himself in the mirror before hearing a noise and going to investigate, finding nothing. Cut to the cop asking a mashup student where the party is, but getting no useful information. His partner tells him about the pool and he says he'll go and investigate. Cut to Martin unscrewing the grate. The others get restless and enter the air duct with Chris staying behind. Inside the duct, the kids try to hurry Martin when there's a bang and Mike starts coughing up blood.
Martin, would you just hurry the f*** up? Jesus Christ, man, I'm trying!
Oh no! Not James McAvoy! I thought he'd survived to the end! The kids then scramble around trying to escape, with the women getting out just in time to see Martin get stabbed to f***ery. The killer then chases Carmen and Sarah through the building. They hide behind a desk, losing the killer, who continues his search. The two discuss the killer's identity, with Carmen still thinking it's Greg. Cut to Chris as he's met by Diego and Greg. Somehow there's blood coming out of the air duct, even though the murders took place well at the other end, and Greg questions whose blood it is. Greg then goes in after Sarah before we cut to the two women still arguing about Greg. Carmen tells Sarah that she and Greg slept together on Sarah's birthday the year before. What a perfect time to bring that up! Carmen says Greg is not who she thinks he is, and then we cut to the cop outside. Inside, Carmen hears the car, somehow, when they're met with Greg now covered in blood from the vent. He tries to convince Sarah of his innocence, but Carmen sparks him with this thing and they run off. Outside, the cop finds blood coming from a vent. What? Maybe, like, the ventilation system is just, like, fully pushing the blood all over the f***ing building. And is quickly dispatched by the killer. Rendering the entire subplot absolutely pointless. Carmen and Sarah then see the flashlight on the ground outside and Carmen starts to lose hope. Sarah gives an inspirational speech and then they head to the circulation unit. We then find out why Sarah doesn't swim. Get ready for this. You see, her father died saving her from drowning. Yeah, that's it. Carmen tries to apologize for Greg and hilariously calls Sarah her best friend and buggers off. Carmen makes it to the other side and climbs up the ladder to freedom, finding the cop dead. The killer then emerges, stabbing her and sending her falling back into the water below. Cut to inside as Sarah calls out to the others and Frank responds. We see Greg waking up as Sarah questions Frank as to where he's been. Greg, locked in the restaurant, can only watch as Frank walks into the light, revealing himself to be the killer.
Can't be happening.
Women are so cruel. Do you know that? You just take whoever you want, and when you've had enough, you spit them out again.
Shock, horror. Frank goes on a full-on misogynist rant, talking about women picking people up and spitting them out when they're done, blah 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 blah, and also gives this wonderful line delivery.
It's never like that, Frank.
Don't lie to me.
Frank whinges on about being treated like a piece of shit by women before Sarah tries to run and immediately trips on the very first step and eats shit so hard. It's kind of brutal. Greg tries to break through the glass while Sarah kicks Frank in the before getting slashed. Frank then admits to killing everyone, including Catherine, for dumping him. He pulls on the mask as Sarah fights back, throwing bottles at him. Frank's about to kill Sarah when Greg bursts through the window, landing in the pool. Sarah then sets Frank on fire, forcing him into the pool to fight Greg. They scuffle as Sarah screams, unable to help. Greg gets slashed and Sarah jumps into the pool in slow motion, but from like the side of the pool. I imagine it's supposed to look epic as fuck, but actually, yeah, it just looks like somebody slow motion jumping into a pool, and it's silly. She then stabs the fuck out of Frank with a broken bottle. Greg and Sarah get to the surface when Frank roars out of the water. That's when shots are fired and he gets lit up by the somehow still alive Carmen. So that was the reason for the cop. The entire subplot built around the fact that we're just trying to get a gun into Carmen's hands. Carmen makes a shit joke and then the cops arrive.
I think I'm gonna take a break from swimming for a while. I always thought I should try parachuting.
Cut to Carmen being taken away in a stretcher, with Diego and Chris still alive, by the way. Sarah says she knows what Greg did last summer. She forgives him, but says she'll kill him if he does it again. They smile all happy-like and kiss as we get the quintessential 90s slasher crane shot out over rock music and cut to credits. The end. I love this movie, and at this point I'm starting to question what criteria a film has to meet in order for me to review it well. It's not very fair, is it? The pool is so absolutely 90s that I can't help but adore it. The characters are all stereotypical slasher fodder, and the plot is basic as but there's something about the simplicity that I just adore. There are plot points that are brought up and dropped unceremoniously, and I can't tell if that's poor writing or actually subversion of expectation.
It's poor writing.
The killer's motive is somewhat disappointing, but also emblematic of the worst that the slasher genre has to offer. Slasher movies being misogynistic is something I hear often, and it seems like the killer's motive is entirely rooted in his hatred of women, which is pretty hilarious if it's done on purpose, but it probably wasn't. Technically, it's shot well, acted competently, and edited fine, with a whole load of obvious ADR, but at the very least, it looks like a movie. Also, with the film being a German production, it has that wonderful little quality of being a European production emulating Hollywood horror cinema, much like The Amazing Thesis, which I also reviewed on this channel a while ago. Also, I had this theory about all the students and their nationalities representing horror cinema in their respective countries, and the killer taking them out, with only Hollywood cinema being the final survivor, but it didn't hold water. So that was my review of The Pool. Have you seen it? If you have, let me know in the comments below what you thought. Also, please, can you recommend me any other 90s slashers that I may not have heard of or seen? If you want to see the uncut version of this video, please head over to patreon.com/Jonjo Lyons. There you can also see the uncut version of Where the Dead Go to Die, which is the last review that I put out. Also, please suggest any other f***ed up movies that I should be watching. Do me a solid and click that like button, and also subscribe if you haven't already. And also send the video to somebody that you hate. And don't forget to click the link in the description for Legion M. If you go to their site and you type in the promo code Jonjo, you can get 15% off of all of their merchandise. But anyway, thank you all for watching. My name is Jonjo Lyons. Stay frosty.